Hey there ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new card review. Well, it's been a month since my last review, which I can blame Pokemon X and Y for that main reason. Now that I can finally take a break from that game for now, I think it's about time to get back to business, shall we? So in this review, I received a request from Chaser. I'm not going to say his full username because it's just a little confusing for me. Well, some of you may remember him, if not, then let me refresh your memory. He requested a card review a while back, and it was Road Warrior. Ring a bell? If not, I don't blame you, it was a very old review. So this time, he wanted me to review Prime Material Dragon, which I'll be happy to review this card because this dragon is actually one of my favorite dragons in Yu-Gi-Oh! So with no further ado, let's get started. Prime Material Dragon looks very interesting. He's probably the most interesting looking dragon of all the other dragons I revealed so far. We can see the dragon's skin color is a very dark yellow with some nice shading all over its body. I'm going to take a guess here and guess the eye color of this card is red. It looks red to me. The texture of this dragon's body looks very interesting. It's kind of hard for me to explain how interesting the texture is. Of course, this dragon has the usual things you see on a dragon. Horns, claws, a long tail, even wings. 6 wings to be exact, and they look amazing. The background looks amazing too, but I'm not too sure how to describe of what it is. So your guess is good as mine on that part. So the artwork on Prime Material Dragon is amazing. One very interesting dragon indeed, so my score for its artwork is a 5 out of 5. Let's check out the effect. Any effect that would inflict damage to a player instead increases their life points by the same amount. When a card's effect to destroy a monster or monsters on the field is activated, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard to negate its activation and destroy the card. Well, I do say, good people, that this card's effect is pretty good in my book. For one, it's like Stardust Dragon in a way. Well, sort of. Once your opponent plays a card effect that would destroy monsters on the field, you can negate that effect by discarding one card from your hand. That's pretty sweet, but there's only one problem with this effect though. You have to discard one card from your hand to negate the effect. What if you don't have a card in your hand? Then you, good sir, are screwed. Its second effect is pretty sweet too. It's the perfect effect against those who use burn decks. Once you or your opponent takes any effect damage whatsoever, you gain it instead. For example, jeez, I sure use this card a lot for my reviews. If your opponent played Ukazi, you won't be taking 800 life points, you'll gain them instead. Pretty awesome, right? So overall, Prime Material's effect is pretty awesome, even though you have to discard a card to use its effect, but it's still a great effect in my book. So my score for its effect is a 4.5 out of 5. Well, on to deck choices everyone. In what deck will Prime Material be good in? I would say Chaos Dragon and stuff, but I already talked about that in my Ancient Dragon review 2 months ago. So I guess I can talk about another deck type for this card. But what deck type is the question? Well, if you guys know me by now, I did my research and this is what I got. Disaster Dragon is one of the many dragon deck types in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I have heard of this deck type before, just not too familiar with its build. So after doing a lot of research on this deck type, let's talk about the 5 monsters I find interesting, along with 2 spells and 2 trap cards for this deck type. And if you guys want to check out more of this deck type, I'll add a link in the description box down below. So let's get started. Mass Dragon is the search support for dragon decks, and here's its effect. Once destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a dragon with 1500 or less attack from your deck to the field. I can see why a lot of dragon decks play this card. Hell, even I use it for good reason. Totem Dragon is a very interesting monster card, and its effect allows this card to be treated as a 2 tribute for a tribute summon for a dragon monster. Pretty cool, but here's the interesting part of its effect. Once this thing is in your graveyard, and if it's your standby phase, you can special summon this dragon from your graveyard. Sounds awesome, right? But here's the catch. You can only play this effect if you have only dragon monsters in your graveyard. And once this dragon was summoned from the graveyard this way, and if it leaves the field, it's removed from play instead. Golem Dragon is one pretty cool looking dragon, and it's pretty much a shield in a way. Once this thing is on the field, your opponent cannot choose another dragon monster on the field as an attack target besides this dragon. Explorer Dragon is the Croat Suicide Bomber on Croat in a way, cause once this thing attacks one of your opponent's monsters on the field, and if this dragon gets destroyed, you take no battle damage, and that attack monster goes boom. Just for shits and giggles, let's look at one of the cards that belongs in the extra deck, and that card will be Queen Dragon Jin. She's an interesting XYZ monster, and here's what she does. She has the shielding effect of Golem Dragon, so that's good. But here's the unique part of her effect. You can detach one Exceed material from this card, and you can special summon a level 5 or higher dragon monster from your graveyard. But the special summon monster's effect is negated, and it cannot attack the turn it was summoned by the Queen's effect. Let's check out the spells. Direct Connection is a pretty interesting card, and here's its effect. Reveal one of your dragon monsters from your hand, and then select one dragon with the same level as the dragon you revealed, and then add it to your hand. Then afterwards, add that revealed dragon from your hand to your deck, then shuffle your deck. Forbidden Lance is a well-known staple for decks. You choose one monster on the field, it loses 800 attack, but the target monster is unaffected by spells and traps. This can be useful in two ways. You can weaken one monster your opponent controls in order to take it down, or use the card on one of your own monsters to protect that monster from spells and traps. It's very useful indeed. Now for traps. Burst Breath is a very interesting card to use in dragon decks, and it's pretty handy if played right. Once played, offer one of your dragon monsters you control, and destroy all monsters on the field with a defense equal or less than the offered monster's attack power. So it's like a dark hole, but only not. Here's a very cool staple card. Venus Chain is a great card to use, and here's the effect. Target one effect monster on the field, and that monster's effect is negated, and it cannot attack as long as this card is on the field. So this card is very useful to stop cards like Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac. So overall, Prime Material Dragon is great for a lot of decks, like the Disaster Dragon deck type. How you build the deck is totally up to you. So for my score for deck choices is a 4.5 out of 5. So overall, Prime Material Dragon is an awesome card by art, effect, and in deck choices, it will be great in Disaster Dragon decks. I have to thank Chaser for allowing me to reveal this card for him, so a link to his channel will be down in the description box down below. So what's my final score for Prime Material Dragon? Well, it's getting the overall score of a 4.8 out of 5. That's it for this review, and if you guys have any cards you want me to review for future reviews, just leave a comment down below and I'll see what I can do. So next time, I'll be reviewing Ancient Flamveld D&T. So remember guys, comment, rate, and subscribe. This is Dragon Core 7, and I'll be seeing you all next time.